I've become this high-grade brain cancer patient. It was surreal, I've got to say. I couldn't change. You can't change yesterday or last week or the last 12 months, but we can change what happens today, and we can wake up tomorrow and do it again. So we've just got to show resilience. You know, it's not all going to go to plan. So when your turn comes in life to deal with situations, step up, be the leader, take each day as it comes, and fight your way out of it.
G'day, welcome back to another episode of A Lot to Talk About. Of course, it's your boy, the captain of the ship, the man in charge, and I'm blessed to be here with the great Mark Hughes. And Mark, it's funny, when we teed this up, I'd obviously heard much about your story. I'm a big fan of rugby league, and I've had the privilege of hearing about all the great things you're doing over the course of the last few years. And I kind of thought there's almost like three ways I could intro this. We're talking like a legend of rugby league. You achieved so much within 10 years at a club that is very proud and very strong here in Newcastle, where we are. Yeah. There's also the battle with brain cancer and all the amazing work you're doing with your very own foundation, the Mark Hughes Foundation. Yeah. And you know, listeners and viewers of the show will know why that means so much to me and why that's such a big piece of what we'll talk about today. But the third thing, mate, the thing that continue to come up time and time again as I told people that I was coming here to chat with you was he's potentially the best bloke you'll ever meet.
Well, I hope I can...
Mate, 100%, mate. You've confirmed it. Everyone says such good things about you. And I think that's for a few reasons. I think it's because anyone knows at home listening to this or watching this, the courage it takes and the absolute admiration I'd have for you or anyone would have for you. Understanding what you've been through over the course of these last few years and continuing to smile as you do and show a brave face. But not only do that, go on and do incredible work for people who also suffer from brain cancer or live within that realm. So mate, maybe you can give us a bit of an idea of where this all started. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that introduction, Brad, and great to have you here in Newcastle, mate.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, look, I was 36 years of age at the time, and I had 3 children under 10, and life was good, and I felt bulletproof and fit and healthy, and from nowhere I had headaches for 2 days, and then it was a bit unusual, and I went to my doctors. He was a bit funny about it. He said, go and get a scan, and right from that sort of moment, from when I got that scan, my life completely changed. I was rushed to John Hunter Hospital to get surgery, had a tumour removed. It's like a little avocado-sized tumour. Then went through radiation and chemotherapy, and I've become this high-grade brain cancer patient. It was surreal, I've got to say.
When you get that news, are they certain of what it is straight away, or does it take time to figure that out?
No, there's a bit of uncertainty. There is, for a little bit. So we got the tumour out with hope that it wasn't going to be cancer, or at worst it'd be low grade. Then we spent probably about 5 to 10 days waiting for the results. And that's frustrating and agonising. And me and my wife Kirralee went in to the doctor's surgery, and he sat us down and just sort of simply said, I'm sorry, Mark, you've got high grade brain cancer. It was a really tough, it was a tough pill to swallow.
I imagine.
No cure for brain cancer. That's the facts. Brain cancer kills more people 40 and under than any other disease, along with children 10 and under. So this is a tough, I've played against some tough teams and tough opposition, but the old brain cancer is definitely the toughest.
Mate, talk me through that moment of hearing the news, because I can only imagine that a few potential things run through your head. Like, is it disbelief and almost a want to not believe it? Is it just pure frustration and anger or sadness, or what runs through your head in that moment?
Your thoughts do control. They go out of control. They spiral, and the people around you, it affects them really bad as well. My wife and family, and so there was a lot of emotion going on with everyone. I tried to keep it together. I remember going on some walks on my own and just thinking about the scenarios, and it was, it's not healthy to be thinking too much about it. This disease, I've never Googled it. I've never looked it up online and stuff like that, because from what I'm told, it's really bad reading, and I didn't want to do that. So yeah, for the first month, things were tough. Me overthinking things, panicking, not getting enough information in, so we were a bit lost.
Of course.
And I'll talk about our brain cancer care nurses a bit later, but there was definitely a gap in my journey where we didn't feel like we were getting the information, because brain cancer is not something that everyone knows a lot about. It's a very specialised cancer. But I sort of felt that I had to, control my thoughts and gather my thoughts and be strong. That's how I've always sort of been. And I had a family and everyone around me, so I quickly clicked into gear.
I heard you talk about that exact moment there in an interview just yesterday that I watched from a whopping 7 or 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
And you spoke about almost this willingness and wanting to go and make videos for your children's milestone birthdays and like those negative thoughts running through your head. And then you spoke about that change. And I've spoken about this recently with a guest of the podcast just a few weeks back. And, sickness and ill health can sometimes feel like a dark room where it just takes enough searching to find a little bit of light and let it in.
Yeah.
And then that positivity overruns the darkness and overrides it. And it seems like you've done that. What do you think inspired that switch?
Look, I think the decision from Kirralee and myself to start a foundation, I think that was a real positive for us. And we weren't just focusing on my situation. We were focusing on the bigger picture of solving this problem and helping others. And I think when you do that, when you make a difference and you're helping other people, you feel much better within yourself. So I think the fact that we started the foundation right from the recovery ward bed pretty much, it gave us a real strong positive focus and something to cling on to, rather than just focusing on my situation on its own. So I think that's been a really, really great part of my fight back, I guess you'd say, yeah.
I'd say undoubtedly that's why you've been as successful with the foundation as you have been, because it's true empathy. Like, you understand the journey for anyone with brain cancer, and your family understand, I guess, the harsh realities and the tough nature of like living with a loved one who is being challenged by this. But how hard is it at stages to show up to work, to continue to grow this when you're going through a fight?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, Brad, I get surrounded by so much support, like I drive around, I see the Beanies. Your hometown of Wollongong, I could drive there, I would see our Beanies.
100%.
That gives me strength and hope that, there's so much support out there for us. And I meet so many people along this brain cancer journey, and they've got the fight and the attitude of me, but they don't quite get the same opportunities I get. And, and brain cancer will take lives and fast. So I get strength out of knowing that I'm still here, I'm still in the fight, I'm carrying the torch for so many people, and that so many people would love to be in my shoes and still be in the fight, and that's what I'm in. And I'm representing so many people, so I need to stay energized. I need to stay focused. I've got an amazing MHF team around me. I've got an awesome friends, my former teammates and my mates from Kirralee. Great people around me, and look, I have down days as well. You're a bit tired and all that, just like anyone else. But generally, I keep energised the best I can. Yeah,
mate, it's so good to hear, and I think it's interesting to look at you as such a positive person before and after this diagnosis. And you were kind of like I remember watching old clips of you playing and old interviews and interactions with other teammates and interactions with the media and fans. And you're always like this beacon of light. Do you think that's come from like a real young age? Is that something that was bred into you by parents or your childhood?
I had a great upbringing at Kirralee. We loved our sport. We didn't have the beach. Newcastle was probably 45 minutes away. So we had just a great little community there, and rugby league was everything, and sport was everything. And I just loved playing footy. And I went right through the Kirralee junior grades. I didn't get in the Knights juniors, I just was a good Kirralee boy. And when I got my opportunity at 18 or 19 at the Knights, I just was going to make the most of it, and I was going to enjoy it. And I was just so grateful to be in this system, and it was not hard for me to be happy and and just be that team player, which
Yeah,
is
of
probably
course.
what I was. And I just loved it. I just had so much enjoyment out of rugby league and took so much out of it. I gave a lot back. I was always in the community doing things, and the community have certainly paid me back for anything I've ever done. That's for sure.
Mate, I think that's such a good point, and it's, you know, my mum says it all the time, good karma, right? And I honestly believe that plays a big part in it, and it plays a big part in why nationwide, like you said, people are wearing beanies in Wollongong. You're hearing reports from Western Australia where people are getting behind this, from NT. It's literally all over the country that people are living and breathing the message that you're creating here at MHF.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, you know, that change in what life looks like moving forward. Like, you finish footy, that's a scary enough time for most guys to leave the game. Yeah. Where was your headspace at that time in your life, and what were the plans?
Well, I retired reasonably young. I think I was 29, 30. Just a few injuries and stuff, but had a wonderful journey there with the rugby league. But I was ready to get into life, you know, and I did that and started up a business and worked really hard in that. So, you know, life was going really well for me, and I was happy and working hard. I was doing little bits for the club on game day for the Knights, which I currently still do today. So, yeah, life was good. But then, yeah, it just changed. And I sold the business and just had to focus on myself and get myself right and get my treatments done and then start again. And I've learned so much. You know, I had some great leaders at the club, none better than Paul Harrigan.
He's a great
amazing friend and amazing leader, and I learned a lot off him. And you know, when I did take this foundation on, I grew as a person. So did Kirralee, my wife, and you know, it was a lot about leadership and all these things that I've learned. And I now know that I am, you know, someone that is a leader, and I know that a lot of people with brain cancer look to me for hope, and I'm comfortable with that role.
Mate, I can imagine. You said something there. You said you learn a lot as a person in the early days of MHF. I can imagine that in the early days of a brain cancer patient, like being a brain cancer patient, you learn a lot from other people who are in the hospital system and within that brain cancer system too. I can remember being a young guy, being probably 9 or 10 at the time, first time ever in hospital with my cystic fibrosis, and I met this young lad. His name was Krishnan. He was only 9 years of age at the time, and he had leukemia. And I remember just watching his daily interactions, the pure joy and happiness that come from this kid. Yeah. And I remember thinking at the time, how on earth can this kid be so happy in the face of all the adversity he has in his life right now? He didn't have his family there to support him. My parents often fed him and looked after him. And I remember just thinking, there's something about what he has that I want to have that in my tough moments too. Yeah. And I learnt so much from him, and there's been so many like him along the way. Were the people that you've learnt from throughout the course of this journey?
Yeah, absolutely. From when I was in the hospital, and I met a lot of older people in that in my ward, and I enjoyed talking with them and sharing my experiences. And then I've along the way I've just met some families and some people that have been affected by brain cancer, and they've still put their hand up to help, you know. And Matt Callender was a Channel 9 employee, and he helped instigate the Beanies For Brain Cancer round whilst he was very sick. So the whole Callender family got right behind that, and that was a special one. But I've met so many families, and then they go and they raise money. They lose their loved one, but then they do a function and raise 40,000, and just inspirational people. And even though it can't probably help their own situation, they want to help people in the future, which is so nice.
Yeah, it's encouraging, isn't it? And it's empowering for so many. Yeah. Mate, if you had the choice, and this is a very impossible question because I can only answer this for myself, and I know people have asked me this question before, so I can imagine your answer may be a little different than mine. But if you had the choice to go back in time and change the course of everything that's happened, to not have this diagnosis, or to have it and to be able to do the work that you've done, where do you think your head lies with that question? Yeah,
it's a tough question. It is. Look, I've always probably said I would prefer to have not been in this situation, particularly early on when it looks so grim. But the more I've learnt about it and the longer I'm going, I'm building confidence. And so I'm very grateful for what I'm achieving and what this is all about. But I still, deep down, I suppose I would rather just been healthy and not have to deal with that. But it's the cards I've been dealt, and I'm gonna pick up the ball and run with it. And that's what I always said. I'd sort of go down swinging, so to speak. And I think that's what we're doing. We're just swinging hard and giving it our best shot.
You've got 2 kids, don't you?
I got 2 boys and a girl.
Okay.
So 18, 14, and 11.
Yeah.
So, they were a lot younger when all this sort of happened. So they're too young to probably understand, but I think they get a feel now for what I'm involved in. Yeah.
Mate, because I think to them, and everyone who listens to or watches this show will be sick of hearing me talk about my parents, but my parents have been the most amazing role models I could have ever been gifted.
Yeah.
And I look at you and your attitude and what you're doing here right now in this moment, and I think of your kids, and I think, they would have been inspired by a dad who was a rugby league legend and had done so much in the course of his career, and also a good human being.
Yeah.
But I look at them now and I think, what a blessing that you are to them, because, mate, I think this journey over the last 7 or 8 years is going to teach them so much about life. And I just think your headspace and the way that you approach everything you do is so inspiring, mate. So, I asked that question with that in mind almost, because I think it's just so encouraging. And I think there are very few people who can, as you would say, hold the torch as you have.
Yeah, no, that's nice, mate. And it's nice to think that, the kids would be getting a little bit of inspiration from what I'm doing. And I hope everyone that sort of sees what I do, my advice is, if you believe in something, stand up for it and give it a shot, If in your heart you believe in something, whether that's work-wise or charity-wise or whatever it is in life, and stand up and take it on. I think it's very important, and I'm living and breathing it, heart and soul into it, and I've got a team around me that are passionate and do the same. It's very fulfilling and very enjoyable and very rewarding what I'm going through. And I did achieve in rugby league, and it was a wonderful journey. But gee, some of this stuff that we're doing now is very important, and it's connected me with so many different people and reconnected me with former teammates and mates, and everyone puts their hands up to sort of help us. So it's a very humbling thing to be a part of.
How would you say that your mindset towards life and the way that you lead your life has changed in the course of the last few years? Do you think you now appreciate different moments and different aspects of life more than you did before? Or are you living different than how you would have? Yeah, definitely.
I think, unfortunately, when you go through something as serious and life-changing as this, you do reassess. And I encourage people to not wait for an illness to do that. And, there's simple things like, we have our gym's air locker, and in every air locker you'll see a sign, "Make today count." And that's something that I sort of run by now. I couldn't change. You can't change yesterday or last week or the last 12 months, but we can change what happens today, and we can wake up tomorrow and do it again. So I try and make today count the best I can. I think that's a really good thing. I like to say, get the good china out. It's like, the back of the cupboard, grandma's old cups, and take the time to do good things in your day, because this might be the best time of your life, and you're not present enough to think about it, because all you're worried about is what's going to be in 10 years' time or what's happened. So I just try and focus on this and make it the best I can.
Mate, I love that. And, it's funny, I've spoken with mates about this quite extensively, about the idea of life expectancy in any regard. And, for someone with cystic fibrosis at the moment, it's about 38 to 40 years of age in Australia.
Yeah.
And, I can imagine that depending on where you're at in a brain cancer journey, it's a similar thing. It's grim, right? Yeah. And I say to my mates all the time, but what is life expectancy? Because no one's guaranteed anything in this life.
Yeah.
Not you at full health and young and as vibrant as you are now. Not me with the challenges I have. And it really is about adopting that headspace that you said, just embrace every moment for what it is. You can only wake up today and do what's in front of you. Yeah. And so it's so true. It's so well said, mate.
Yeah, it is, mate. And the way you live in your life, you're doing exactly what I'm doing. And yeah, that's awesome, mate, because we don't know what's down the track, so we'll just try and make best of what we've got now. and I think it's a good way to live. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
When you started MHF, was there an objective for what the foundation would be? Was it, okay, we're going to raise a bunch of money for research and development of drugs and, to find a cure? Or was it more care-based?
Well, a mixture of both. We'd love to help individual families, but we just couldn't work out a solution with that. And how do you say no to this family and and yes to this family?
Yeah.
So we decided the best thing we can do for people is to find a cure for brain cancer. That's the problem. So we focus on that with our research. We also have brain cancer care nurses throughout regional New South Wales. Now, during my journey, I was lost. I didn't know what to do, who to talk to. I didn't know what all these big words they were using. Our nurses, our care nurses, they book your meetings. They come into them with you. They do so much more than a normal nurse. So that part of the foundation we're very proud of, and it's helping people right now. And now our research, which we have around Australia, we've now centralised. We've got a really big thing at the university now. It's called the Mark Hughes Foundation Brain Cancer Centre, and we're filling that with the best amazing researchers. It's world class. We're very excited about this. So that's a big thing we've got going at the moment. But at the end of the day, people are alive, they need a cure. That's simple, and we're racing to find one.
Definitely. Is there any advice for people like early on in their life before any of these thoughts of brain cancer or potential challenges are, afoot? Is there anything that people can be doing to make sure their brain's in a good place?
No, that's the thing. It just sneaks up on you. It's not it's not something that we don't know the reasons why, and you're not going to probably know. So there's not too much you can do.
It's silent, isn't it?
It's a bit silent. Then one day someone will have a seizure, they'll have headaches, they'll get dizzy, a couple of little signs like that, and that's when it's sort of all hell will break loose if you get a scan and there's problems.
The idea of a headache is a scary thing because it's so common. People get stress headaches, dehydration.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel things that were different to the regular headache?
It was definitely a lot heavier than my normal headaches and went for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was, a migraine or something. I never had one, but I felt, this is a migraine. So it's just, one of those things.
And how early was that in the piece that they caught it? Can they tell?
No, they can't really tell. No.
Mate, it just sounds like
could have
one
been
of those
there for
things
years.
Like you said, it truly creeps up.
Yep. Yeah,
Mate,
so it creeps up on people. So that's a big mystery about brain cancer.
So as you've gone through the foundation, I'm jumping back and forth here, and it's just natural intrigue and curiosity that sort of sparks these questions.
Yeah.
Like, I would just think, if I was in your shoes, where do I start? Was there anyone who guided you and gave you advice on the direction that this needed to take?
Yeah, we had HMRI, which is a big hunter medical research institute in Newcastle.
Yep.
They were amazing things there. We lent on them a lot and spoke to them because they do a lot of research in all different fields. We said we needed to focus on brain cancer, and they gave us some advice. We started up a scientific committee, which is an amazing group that steer and worked out where we should be putting our money. We lent on some good people, and we just give it a shot. We started fundraising, and then we just kept growing and learning as we went.
What have been the key things for you to fundraise the amount you have thus far? Like, do you have a total that you've reached over the course of?
So I think we'd be around 30 million raised.
Wow, man, that's incredible.
Yeah, so that's pretty amazing. Obviously the beanies. When I was sick, I wore a beanie a lot. So I decided beanies and brain cancer had a really good ring to it.
It does.
So we got a few local schools to bring their favourite beanies to school and bring a $2 coin donation. So a few local schools did that, and we thought, this is fun, and people enjoyed it. And then we decided to design our own beanies, and then the NRL jumped in, and then that sort of grew from there. The other huge part of our foundation has been our treks. We've done some adventures.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's been amazing. So
talk to me about that.
Yeah, my two great mates, Paul Harrigan and Bill Peden, former teammates, they said we need to start challenging ourselves and doing something to help the foundation. So we started off with Kokoda with about 18 people.
What a place to start.
Yeah, it's amazing there. So what we actually did, we went to a place called Borneo, which is one side of PNG. We rode our mountain bikes 100 Ks. Then we did the walk. Then we rode our mountain bikes another 20k to the other side, went right across the country.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where it's been done. It was a crazy expedition. We thought, this is great. And we raised 150 grand with 18 of us.
Yeah.
So the next year we went to base camp Mount Everest. We had about 30 of us. I had Beaver Menzies come on that one. Yeah, the Beaver. Matty Johns joined us on that one. And I had guys like Denny Badiris and the Gidley brothers and Chief and Billy, Steve Crow, and just some great people. Lots of great people.
That's amazing, yeah.
So we did that. We raised 500 grand.
How long does it take to get to base camp?
I think it was about 5 or 6 days, maybe,
Yeah.
and a couple of days back. But you don't walk as quick because of the altitude, you know, and you don't go as far. Yeah, it's pretty slow. But what an experience that was. Then we went to a place called Borneo and did the Borneo Death March, which is something our soldiers did in the 40s. That was an amazing experience. Then we went to Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, which is the highest mountain in the world, freestanding mountain, 6,000 metres above sea level. Trent Robinson joined us on that one, Roosters coach.
I'm a Roosters man too.
Oh, he was just wonderful, and the way he spoke. And on the last night, we left our camp at 11 p.m. to get to the top. Got up there about 7 or 8 in the morning, and it was raining, it was snow, it was cold, and he sat us in there before we left, and he sort of just simply said, today's game day, and we don't lose on game day. Whatever happens, it doesn't matter, we're going to get there. And they were simple but really good words.
Yeah.
And yeah, really, really great man to have on tour. And we made it up there. I think only 1 or 2 of us didn't quite make it, but pretty much everyone made it. Yeah, just a wonderful, wonderful thing to be a part of. Then we did Darwin this year on a bike riding of about 400 k's in the heat, Kakadu and all that. Had 30 odd people. Wow, that was amazing as well. We raised 700 grand, I think, and yeah, so yeah, it's great because you get self growth. Each other working really hard. You fundraise. There's so much you get out of it. Teamwork.
Of course.
And you know, on those mountains, it's just about putting one foot in front of the other. You know, and not going it too fast, and just that's what life's about. You know, just keep moving forward slowly, and that's all you do. And I remember one stage I looked forward and at a river crossing and stumbled and fell, and that's we talk about make today count. Well, I was looking ahead instead of just worrying about my next step. And yeah, it's a really good thing to do is these adventures, and yeah, I'll continue to do those.
I think I could take a leaf out of your book here, Mark, because I look at those experiences and I think they've got almost 2 elements to it. It's the physical challenge,
yes,
which I know very well. I've run a couple of marathons. I've got my next one coming up in a month.
Wow.
But what I haven't understood yet is exactly what you're doing here and going somewhere that's really just bloody magnificent and experiencing something that's kind of a bucket list item. And do you think that has that been something you've just stumbled across, or is it, no pun intended there, or is that literally you going, I want to have these incredibly rich experiences with people that I know and love and challenge myself at the same time?
It wasn't on my radar, to be honest, until it was asked of me by the boys, and I thought, oh yeah, let's give it a go. And then as soon as I started doing it, I was addicted. Back into that team, teamwork and camaraderie, and just loved it. And being in the trenches with people, and not just my mates, they're people that I don't know that come and do it, and they're amazing as well. And yeah, it's just now something I look back at as some of the best things I've ever done in my life. So very grateful that we've done those journeys.
Now, you said it there, teamwork. A big part of my journey has been building a community around me who encourage positive things and positive habits.
Yeah.
How important do you think that is for anyone in any walk of life?
So important. And I say to people that some of the things that are important to me is to make sure you surround yourself with the right friends, the right family. And life's too short. So if friendships, people are bringing you down or it's a bit toxic, well, make some changes. Because if you don't change your choices, nothing changes in life. So there's times where you've got to make those decisions. And if you're in a relationship or mates or workplace that's negative and not working for you, well, you need to make that choice and move, because life's too short to be just, not happy. And I think it's very important that we think about our choices daily, because if you're not happy and you don't change your choices, nothing else will change. you know, and you'll still have the same problems.
Oh, mate, I love that, and I couldn't have said it better myself. It makes me think, have you cut anything out of your life in the course of the last few years that you felt didn't align with those values?
Mate, look, I've been a bit smarter, and, you know, I've definitely looked at my diet and made some changes, and, you know, but probably more selective on eating rubbish and different things. But look, I've just grown as a person and a leader out of the trauma that I went through. And I think when you go through failure, if you go through the other side, you come out better and bigger, and that's sort of how I've done it. And you know, I just think in life, when things go wrong or you go through the struggle, you've got to worm your way out of those struggles. And when you do that, you'll be stronger for it, and you're going to be better for it. And you might agree with me on that. Is that, yeah, get yourself through the struggles, and your life can be it can be better.
Mate, I couldn't agree more. I think if I look at my life, particularly the last couple of years, on the other side of real challenge has been some of the best and most, for me personally, inspiring moments of my life that have really forced my growth. Like, they've forced my hand, and it's required me to get a little bit more resilient, a little bit more courageous, and keep moving forward. And mate, I feel so blessed to have had the experiences I've had.
That's right.
Because it's made me who I am.
Yes.
I don't know that I'd be the same person had life have been a little easier.
Yeah, that's true. There's no doubt about it. It was like some of the best footy games I played in. The memories were the harder ones, you know, because you get through that struggle and you win, and it's so good. On the track, some of the most memorable days have been the hardest days, where we've had to walk 25 kilometres, you know, in 45-degree heat. And it was tough at the time, but we got through it together, and then at the end of the day, it's one of the best days you've ever had. So for people out there going through struggles or going through tough times, just know that you need to ride it out, and you need to work your way out of it, scratch, kick and claw your way out of it. And when you do that, life will be better. It will be.
Mate, I've got a question that just comes out of natural curiosity. You spoke there about being a leader now, having experienced what you have, and, you know, creating this path for people. I wonder if you were always what you'd identify as a leader in, like, your footy days and those early years, or do you think that's been a part of you becoming the man that you are in these last few years?
I think I've definitely increased my leadership qualities as I got older and that, but I think when I was playing, I was that sort of, what would I say, that teammate. I provided a few laughs for the team. I wanted to make my team feel good, and I'd organise some functions that we'd have. I was that sort of guy. Yeah. And then towards the end of my career, a bit of leadership, but nothing compared to what I've got now. And I've got to know that I've got a lot of responsibility. I'm the head of a very big foundation that people have put a lot of effort into and a lot of money into. So my responsibility is to lead the best I can, and continue our sort of aggressive approach to finding an answer to cure for brain cancer. Yeah.
Mate, of course, you know, you spoke there about being the leader of this ship, and we'll call it the captain, for name's sake. And now you've also got the gyms with Air Locker. What inspires you to go, okay, I'm going to put more weight on my shoulders? And, you know, arguably that weight makes us stronger, right? But what inspires you to continue to pivot and put stress on yourself, essentially, in all these different areas of your life?
Well, once I got sick, I promised myself I'd only do meaningful things that make a difference and make me feel better and people around me feel better. And I stumbled across Air Locker. I was just starting up in Newcastle and went and met those guys, and quickly loved the fact that it brought people together, it improved your fitness, it made you feel better. I loved all that stuff. So I thought I want to be a part of this, and became a partner in Air Locker. So I'm very glad that I can see people improve their lives, make their day better by coming in, training, giving it their all, and then and also having that camaraderie and mateship. So it just ticked the boxes, and it was a nice leveler. You know, I've got the foundation, which I do, which I'm 100% volunteer for, and then I've got this Air Locker stuff on the side. You know, I get busy and all that, but it's good busy, and I'm very grateful of the journey of Air Locker training. And, you know, we're franchising them out around Australia, and I just want to see our franchisees' lives change, and I want to see all our members come in and improve their life by doing Air Locker.
Explain air locker a little bit to the people at home who maybe don't understand.
So it's different. It's group training, but what we do, we take the oxygen out of the air. So we're breathing 21% oxygen at the moment. In our gyms, you'll breathe, the air you're breathing will be about 13 or 14% oxygen.
Okay.
So your body works harder naturally. So you do less, but you burn out more calories, and there's all these other...
Could have used a bit of that before base camp, eh?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But basically, you can get fitter quicker and easier because of the environment we're in. And we do all these amazing programs in a group environment, and we just couldn't be happy with the way that's going. So yeah, really excited about Air Locker, and I go in there and train myself, so I personally feel better. I have a community in my gym, in our gyms, wherever they are, and that makes me feel quite proud.
Mate, 100%. Would you say that training is a big part of you keeping a healthy state of mind, more so than body?
Yes. I think my day just seems to go better when I get up and train.
Yeah.
It is physical, it's important, but mentally as well. Everything seems to go better when I'm training. So I've been a bit off lately, so I haven't trained probably for 5 or 6 days, and I can feel that in myself. So I'm looking forward to probably tomorrow morning getting back into some training.
For sure. Talk to me about, at risk of looking ahead, which I know we spoke about, living in the present and doing what's in front of us. But is there anything you haven't tried yet that you think is a part of your journey to come?
No, look, I've done, I've done corporate speaking in front of 400 people. I've done lots of television stuff. I've to spread the word. I've had a bit of a go at lots of different things. But my life now will be dedicated to my family. It'll be dedicated to the charity. Quite simply, I've got to find an answer. The stakes are high here for me and so many others. So that's the goal, and that's what we're going to create some history, and we're going to find an answer to brain cancer. And then on the side of that, we're going to change lives in Air Locker by giving people a really friendly, good environment to train.
Mate,
I think it's really nice. So I encourage you to come and do a session.
Mate, 100%. I'll get around it because it intrigues me, and I need the fitness. I'm too close to Melbourne Mara to go without that extra little bit of fitness. I'll have to come and have a crack.
Come and have a crack. That'd be good. That'd be good.
Mate, where can the listeners and the viewers support you? Like, this foundation is so big. There's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
Can you maybe give them an idea from, the average person who wants to help raise some money or wants to donate some money, and then maybe even to the more medically inclined, like a nurse who thinks, I'd love to work with them? Yeah,
probably simple things would be the Mark Hughes Foundation on Instagram or Facebook.
Yep.
We'll get on the Mark Hughes Foundation website. Every year our beanies come around, so you can organise some beanie fundraising. You might want to, your footy club or your netball team or your school can do beanie day. That's a real simple way of getting involved. People do lots of things. They bike ride, they hold morning teas, they have luncheons. There's lots of different things you can do to help the foundation, and mark my words, we need the support. We've got a lot of support out there, but God, we've still got some work to do. So we still need that support. You can register to be a volunteer on our website, and then our amazing team will contact you, and we might need help in Sydney or for this or Brisbane or whatever. So there are probably some simple ways to get in contact with what we're doing.
Mate, I love it. I love it. And I'll make sure that all of that's in the show notes so people listening to the show or watching can get amongst it and get around you guys. I want to finish with a consistent theme of the podcast, which is 5 questions and 5 answers.
Yeah.
It's almost like the beautiful conclusion to a great episode.
Yeah.
But it also gets sent out separately as like a little trailer or teaser for the episode that was.
Sure.
Give people a bit of an idea on you and who you are as a human.
Sure.
So the 5 questions are always the same for every guest. The first one is, if you could recommend only one book or podcast to the listeners and viewers, what would it be?
One book? I haven't read a book since I had surgery. Podcast? I don't listen to many podcasts. Man, I'm sorry. I don't really feel I've got one.
Well, what about a movie? Or is there any piece of literature, art, creativity that you think has just helped you? What's something you go back to?
You should have got me prep for these ones. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't read. I don't read these days. Now and again, I'll listen to some inspiration on the YouTube and that, like videos. But I don't have nothing that I can just say, go and listen to.
Do you have a mate or someone you go to? Like, we've all got one person that you ring up when you need a little bit of something.
I think talking to friends is really important, and I've got some special mates that I will go to and talk to when I need that, and they're really close mates of mine. So for me, that's probably as important as reading a book or listening to YouTube. It's just getting around close mates and and talking to them and feeling them out on how I should handle situations.
Real connection.
Yeah, real connection.
I love it, mate.
Yeah.
The second is there a skill that you'd recommend trying to master that significantly improved your life?
I think talking. I think it scares a lot of people, but it's a good skill to have. Is just to get out of your comfort zone and talk, and don't be afraid to talk in front of the group, and challenge yourself to do that, because I think that's and you do it really well.
Thank you.
I think it's a good skill to have.
Mate, I love it. A simple one too, and I think, like you said, it only enriches your life.
Yeah.
Whether it's for feeling supported or supporting another and just connecting with people. I think honestly, it's almost the first skill, right?
Yeah.
It's the one that served us for the longest time.
Yeah, but it's not easy to execute in front of a crowd, is it? Yeah.
So true. Third question is, what's a challenge, and maybe we can steer away from the big challenge itself, but maybe a smaller challenge within it that you face that's required you to really exercise your resilience to overcome?
Well, okay, outside of the foundation, I think as a sportsman you endure injuries, and at times you think it's the end of the world, but it's not. You will recover and you'll get better, and no matter what level of sport you play, you'll probably get an injury. For me, just injuries and just rehab it and getting myself back. And I think my dedication and commitment to getting back from injuries as a sportsman really helped me in my situation down the track.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Very well said. Yeah. Mate, is there an attribute, or I guess an attribute that you've worked at developing that you think is such an important piece to play in life at the moment?
I think presence, as in be present with who you're talking to, and no matter what the situation, give people your time and respect, because we do all get busy sometimes, and you'll find you know what it's like. You're talking to someone, but you're looking over the shoulder because your mates are over there, and so it's just about being present and respectful for who you're with and what you're doing. And I think if people do that in life, I think it's a nice thing.
Mate, have you ever heard of Hugh Van Cullenberg? Started the Resilience Project.
Yeah, I don't know.
Amazing speaker, really good book, great podcast. He does a few things, and I heard Hugh talk about it in a podcast where he said he always felt like sometimes when he's super busy in life, he avoids personal situations because he doesn't have the time to speak. And then he said, then I realised that I don't want to ever be the guy who doesn't have time to stop and talk to someone. And I noticed in my life that when I take the weight of the world off my shoulders and I stress a little less about where I have to be and how quickly I have to be there, and I'm just present, and you actually talk and you listen to people, you can meet some really intriguing people. And
learn a lot.
Mate, so much. The last guest of the podcast, I was sitting at a Gang of Youths concert in Sydney. He walked in, I recognised his face somewhat from being in the local area, and we sat and we chatted, mate. He had the most incredible story, and he ended up being a podcast guest, and he's now become a mate. And it's just, I thought after that concert, had I have just thought, I'm just here to watch the concert and not spoken, like what would I have missed out on?
Yeah.
And so it's so true.
So true. And a little interesting fact is that you don't learn nothing whilst you're talking, So sometimes you just got to zip it up, use these, and you'll learn a lot. And I think that's important.
Mate, I could probably do a bit more listening than I do talking, let me tell you.
We're all guilty of it. Yeah.
Mate, the last question, arguably the most important of the whole podcast, is a really good opportunity for you to leave a message with the audience. So if you had one message to share with the world and you could encourage them to act on it, what would that message be?
I think my message will be that life gets tough. It does at times, and we've just got to show resilience. You know, it's not all going to go to plan. So when your turn comes in life to deal with situations, step up, be the leader, take each day as it comes and fight your way out of it. And be supported by your friends and family and do some great things. Don't worry about statistics or what everyone else's journey. Just focus on yourself and give yourself every chance of fighting and winning. Because life can be tough at times, and we've got to just deal with it. So that's probably a good thing.
Mark Hughes, mate, I want to celebrate everything you've achieved thus far. I want to encourage you to keep going because your work is so powerful, mate. Even just what you say and the conversations that people have with you, they really do rub off and do so much good. So, mate, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brad. That was great. A great chat, mate. So I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming from Wollongong.
Mate, pleasure.
And I hope if people get one little thing out of it, we've done our job.
Mate, we definitely have.
Great.
Cheers.